The best cinematographers understand how to move their camera to help tell a story. In part 2 of this video series, we'll be going over 3 camera movements and what they subconsciously tell your viewer. Number 1, the dolly-in. This type of shot is used frequently in films to communicate curiosity. It simulates natural responses to human interest, which is getting closer to the subject. What is the subject really trying to communicate? Or what are the implications of what they're saying? The dolly-in suggests there is more to what is being said or shown than meets the eye, and focuses our attention on the subject. In Shawshank Redemption, it furthers Ellis's fed-up attitude towards his parole council meeting and convinces us of his defeat. In Silence of the Lamb, it's used to make us uncomfortable by forcing us closer to Hannibal Lecter, a serial cannibal, engulfing us in his madness. In the first Iron Man, it's used to get us into the mind of Tony Stark as he considers the consequences of admitting that he's Iron Man. Whatever the nuances of the moment, the dolly-in, when used effectively, can help accent the emotion of your scene. To achieve a dolly-in shot, put your camera on any sort of stabilization, whether a slider or a gimbal, or really anything with wheels will do. Next, physically move your camera towards your subject. Simply using a digital or optical zoom is something completely different and will give you an entirely different effect. Note, if you're using manual focus, you'll need to pull focus while you dolly in. Number 2, the pan. This movement naturally mimics our eyes scanning an environment. It's used often in films to establish a scene, providing us with the spatial awareness we need to understand the context of the story. In Lord of the Rings, it's used to introduce us to the beauty of the Shire, the world in which the hobbits live. In Skyfall, it follows Bond's car to introduce us to the setting of the movie's climax. It's also used to set up Rocky's character as a no-name fighter in the industrial setting of Philadelphia. Achieving a pan is quite simple. Make sure your camera is stationary, and all you have to do is point your camera to the left or right. This can be done on a tripod or handheld, slowly or quickly. Each technique will communicate something different. Quick pans tend to either add a sense of urgency or comedy to a scene, while slow movement is typically used as an establishing shot because it gives us time to take in what we're seeing. That leads us to number 3, the camera track. This movement refers to the camera continuously following a subject, without cutting, as they are moving in physical space. This technique is often used to communicate a sense of urgency in a scene. It prolongs a moment by forcing us to exist in real time with the character, rather than cutting out those in-between moments. Instead of moving instantaneously from point A to point B, we get there at the same time as the character, while tension is ratcheted up. The film Gravity does this perfectly in its opening sequence, which uses a long tracking shot to immerse us into the vast environment of space, while setting up the eventual catastrophe that catapults the narrative forward. This shot also allows us time to sympathize with the character and their vulnerability before it hits the fan. This can also be used to prolong a moment we wouldn't expect to be prolonged. Spectre opens with a 4-minute sequence that is entirely a tracking shot. This shot simultaneously makes us uneasy with its length, while Bond's character eases our worries by confidently waltzing through what we can only deduce is a dangerous situation for him. If this wasn't a tracking shot, the director could have used quick cuts and tense music to achieve a similar effect, but it would not have been as effective in building the tension. This technique has also been used to its extreme in movies like Birdman and 1917, which both appear to be a continuous tracking shot. As with everything in film, knowing a rule behind each technique allows you to either use them or break them for a specific reason. Camera movement is an essential piece to any narrative film and should be used deliberately to further whatever emotion or theme you are attempting to invoke. Thanks for watching another video from Social Paragon. In our next video of this series, we'll be going over the use of color in film to achieve different effects in your story. As always, you can subscribe for more video content like this, and if you do, be sure to turn on those notifications so you can see when we release the next one.